Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports for today's preview as the Bulls take on the Pumas tomorrow in what is pretty much a formality before the Bulls will lift the first ever Super Rugby Unlocked trophy tomorrow, in many ways celebrating their fourth Super Rugby, although a lot of debate about whether it is really their fourth Super Rugby given the fact that there were no New Zealand and Australian teams, etc, etc. But the point of the matter is that tomorrow the Bulls, barring a disastrous performance where I think the Pumas have to win by 59 points, in order for the Bulls to actually move down to second, the Bulls will lift the trophy and we crown Super Rugby Unlocked champions, which they deserve. And I think that Jake White was quite apparent. He said there's nothing trivial about the trophy. Like, yes, there have been issues with sort of the COVID situation and stuff like that, which hasn't been ideal. But at the end of the day, Bulls have played very good rugby and they do deserve the title. And you can't take that away from them. They have been the best side in the competition. I think that's fairly well accepted, but in terms of the game tomorrow, before we get into the team itself, please do subscribe, bottom right hand corner over there. Click the like button as well, turn your notifications, jump in the comments, let me know what you think. But in terms of the teams, we'll start with the Bulls. So the big name there missing is Morné Steyn. Will not play this weekend. He was in contact with somebody at he had his child's christening over the weekend, and somebody within the actual party itself tested positive. So whilst there's no confirmation that he himself has been tested positive, they are going to sort of leave him out just for safety's sake, to make sure there can be no possible issues there. In his place, Chris Smith gets his first start of the competition. Apart from that, a very, very strong side. Arno Buerta comes back into the side. So yeah, it's a very settled side. And it's a side with a lot of power. And I think, especially look at the locks of Ruan Nortje and Will Steenkamp. There's a lot of power there. That loose trio has been very good. Dwayne Vermeulen has been a rock at the front. Jacques Van Rooyen and Trevor Nyakani, lots of experience there. Cornelius Ellis gets a start as well. And then off the bench, the likes of Imbros Appeal will bring in a lot of pace. Clinton Swart comes in the place of Chris Smith on the bench. Marco Janssen van Vuren is quite a nice dynamic player. Nizam Carr, Sintoman Jezi, just a lot of impact off the bench. And I think, we are starting to see a lot more attention being put on the bench, and I think a lot of that's got to do with the Springboks and the way Rassie Erasmus used the sort of bomb squad to such a good effect, really. And I think that, it's going to start redefining the game in that, even the Bulls started on social media. They started having a thing last season where it was starters versus finishers as opposed to the starting lineup and the replacements or the substitution. And I think it's an apt way to put it, because they come on to finish the game, to either chase the game, to see off the game, to change the result, or to protect the result. And I think that the role of the bench becomes so important, which is really good to see, because I think it adds a lot more value in being on the bench. That you're no longer just there because you're not good enough to start. You're there to bring something off the bench, to add something, to add a whole new dynamic, to be important, to be an integral part of the team itself, which is a very good thing at the end of the day. So it's a very good side. Hopefully Stefan Hans continues playing well. I thought he's been a particularly good player. Even for Sale, I think he's probably been one of the standout scrum halves of the competition. Him and Sandile Nahamba have probably been the two best scrum halves. I thought he's been playing very good rugby, which is sometimes in many ways different to what the type of rugby he was playing maybe a year ago. And I think you're starting to see that Farida Pereira influence in Ivan van Sale's game. For the Pumas, it's a very settled side. Luther Obi comes in for Neil Maritz, normally Maritz for this weekend. And the Pumas have obviously been quite hit by COVID, but they have been able to come out and put together a side. And, a lot of the big names are still there. So Devin Williams will still start. Wayne van der Bank, who's been fantastic all competition, he will still start. Peter Janssen from Vuren will captain the side as per usual. Theo Boshoff will partner Chris September, who will play his first game. Obviously, the Pumas game last weekend being called off. Ginter Smuts remains on the bench. So it's a side that is capable of pushing the Bulls, but at the end of the day, I think we just know the Bulls are too powerful. And if the Pumas have any hope of doing something, they're going to have to do something quite early, and then be able to hold on to it. Because that was the issue against the Stormers. They came out the blocks firing, they got an early lead, they pretty much had the game in the bag, and then they fell apart. And if their defense isn't good enough, the Bulls will punish them. We're not seeing, yes, it's a very big physical side, and Jake White's very, very open about the fact that he wants a big physical side. But in many ways, it is a Bulls side which is still a bit more sort of maybe open, a bit more attacking nature than we might have expected it to be. So the Pumas defense will have to be up to standard if they are to try and keep the scoreline reasonable, trying to keep themselves in the game, or to try and do something special. Either way, I'm predicting a Bulls victory, and I think they will deservedly cap off a very good Super Rugby Unlocked season. But we'll talk more about that sort of season in the weeks to come. But for now, all eyes focus onto this game. 2 o'clock kickoff in South African Standard Time, so make sure you watch there. We will have a reaction here, so make sure you subscribe, bottom right hand corner there, smash a like up in the comments, let me know what you think of the teams and as what's going to happen of the game itself. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you very, very soon.